will be laughing all the way to bank. Now, he doesn't make beer. The point I'm trying to make is, do you know what is your raw material? Are you stuck with your raw material? It's a question that entrepreneurs need to ask, not only about the raw material of their business, but look at their own lives as raw material. And I'll give you the second example of an entrepreneur to understand how your life actually is a raw material and how you may remain all your life as a bean. You can become crushed bean. You can turn that into space. This is the story of Captain Gopinath, Captain Gurur Gopinath, who all of you know. Gopi is son of a school teacher. He was born in a place in Karnataka. His father was a school teacher. He didn't let Gopi go to school in the initial years because he said that, his learning will stop if he goes to school. So he'll better stay at home for some time. So finally, when one day he went to school, his headmaster said that there is going to be a test to attend the military school. So are there any kids wanting to join the military school? Gopi didn't know what's a military school. But the very fact that he did not know, he raised his hand. Okay. And he was the only guy. So he was sent off to sit down for the test for the military school. Actually, Gopi now tells me that, his father told that, military, the word military means that there's an opportunity to eat non-vegetarian food. Okay, because there's a military hotel, right? So Gopi thought that that would be the next excitement for vegetarians. So off Gopi went to write the test for the military school, and Gopi flunked royally because the test was in English, and Gopi didn't know English. So I howled, and this headmaster had the tenacity to write to Ministry of Defense an angry letter saying, how can you do that? How can you give an English test to children in rural India who are not being taught English? So one man agitates. Somebody in the Ministry of Defense actually listened. Okay, so you never know. India has this infinite capacity to take you by surprise. And promptly comes a letter that the test will be done again, and this time the test will happen in Kannada, and Gopi, of course, went through, and then he joined the Indian Army. When he passed from his National Defense Academy, he straight went to war in 1971 because the Bangladesh war was on. So imagine a young second lieutenant, the age of 19 or 20, okay, you go into the theater of war. And Gopi recalls that, in the evening you're drinking with a colleague, in the morning that colleague is shot dead. So that left a very, very strong impression on him. Came back, grew to be a captain in the army, and then he said that is there all there is to it, that rest of my life I will have to just wait for promotions. How many of you are spending your life waiting for promotions? Okay, none of you. Actually, you are all good people. You'll be surprised how many millions of people in corporate India and non-corporate India are just waiting for a promotion. That, from GM, I'll become VP, from VP to senior VP, then I'll live in misery for some time because my batchmate has become executive VP, okay? Then after that, I will quibble, I will compare myself with yet somebody else, and finally maybe, I will retire as president or whatever. So you spend your whole life just waiting for promotions. So Gopi wouldn't want that. Came back, quit the army, came back. What does he do? He came to his village, went back to his village, and the government had given his father compensation for a dam that was built, an alternate land, which was arid land on which nothing was growing. So Gopi said, I will grow a farm here. He's an army guy. He has never lived in a farm, never done agriculture, though he comes from a rural background. Went to this farm, pitched a tent. All it did was took a boy from his father's household, and between the boy and Gopi, they pitched a tent there. And he started doing organic farming. He said, I will revive this land on which nothing is growing by doing things organically. I'll get gold out of this farm. And he started growing silkworms there. So he would typically bring his silkworm to the markets in different parts of Karnataka and sell. And one day, he had a bullet motorcycle. So one day, he was coming from wherever this farm was to a place called Hassan, and his bike broke down. And he went to fix the bullet bike. The dealership found has been closed. There's no dealer anymore. So what did Gopi do? Gopi saw opportunity there. And he parked his bike, sat in a bus, came to Chennai, and asked the owners of Penfield to give him the dealership in Hassan. So they said that, you are a captain from the army and you now say that you are doing a farming. Have you gone out of your mind? He said, no, there may be many more people like me who need their bullet to be repaired, so give me the dealership. And he actually took on the dealership there and started repairing bullet motorcycles there as well. During this time, he led a delegation of farmers to China. And when he took this delegation of farmers to China, in the plane he read the story of a Vietnamese woman who had left Vietnam as a child when Vietnam was getting bombed. And she became a migrant to France, and in France she trained to be a helicopter pilot. So once the war was over, she came back and she saw the devastation that Vietnam was, and she cried. And she said, I need to help my motherland, and the only thing I know is how to fly a helicopter. So how do I help my motherland? She said, I will start a helicopter company here, because connectivity will be very important to rebuild Vietnam. Now this connected back in Gopi's mind to another incident, and this incident happened when Gopi's friend Sam, who was in the army and who was a helicopter pilot, had left the army and he had become the regional manager of a courier company. So on one hand, Gopi saw similarity between the need for rebuilding Vietnam and the need for connectivity, and how connectivity is critical, to the other reality that friends of his were leaving the army and they were becoming courier company regional managers. She came back, and that is how he started his helicopter company. And then he, from the helicopter company, started Deccan Aviation. And Deccan Aviation, all of you know, he now sold, and from there he is now building Deccan 360. Very interesting. You look at his life graph, it is a movement from one thing to another thing. Army to farming, farming to helicopters, helicopters to aviation, now aviation to logistics. And he saw patterns in there. What pattern did he see for logistics in his aviation business, and how did he see patterns in his aviation business when he was doing his helicopter business? One day while he was flying from Bangalore to Goa, his helicopter, one of his two helicopters, he asked the pilot to fly low because he loved to see the paddy fields and the hamlets and the cows grazing and the rivers down below. That's the beauty of a helicopter, you can see the ground below. And as he crossed village to village to village, he saw on every village there was a dish antenna. And he said, this is not a billion people waiting to be fed. These are a billion people waiting to be flown. And he said, if these people have dish antenna, and they have bikes, and they have motorable road, then why can't they fly? And that is how his airline business was created, where he got this that every man could fly. Now, while he was doing that, and he connected his airlines destinations to far-flung places like Dibrugarh and Bellary and all over the place, once in a while his planes would break down because there's an engine problem somewhere in Dibrugarh. Now, to get a part flown from Toulouse to Mumbai, Mumbai to Calcutta, Calcutta to Dibrugarh was worse than trying to fly an airline. So he said this country needs logistics. And logistics is an opportunity. Logistics is a business. So you can see how step by step, this man is looking at himself as a means to a higher end continuously. He's not trying to grow, his whole life has been not about organic farming. His whole life has not been about the helicopter business. He still owns the helicopter business. His whole life was not centered around the aviation business. So entrepreneurs have to see patterns. Entrepreneurs have to connect dots going forward. The third interesting thing I'll tell you is nothing as glorious as either Siddhartha or Gopi. You know, a few days back, I was in an obscure place near, in Orissa near Bhubaneswar. So I get down in Bhubaneswar. Where I get a little time, I'm an amateur photographer, and I like to shoot wildlife. So I was told that there is a saltwater crocodile in the mangroves by the side of the Bay of Bengal in Orissa. And so I wanted to spend a couple of days to shoot the saltwater crocodile. And so we got down in Bhubaneswar. We left Bhubaneswar. It took us about 4 hours to reach this place in the middle of nowhere by the Bay of Bengal. And there was a 42-year-old woman who ran a tented accommodation there where you can stay, and then she takes you around and shows you the mangroves and its flora and fauna. So I was talking to this lady as to how did she get into this business. Let me tell you her story. She was like Gopi and like me. She never went to an English medium school. The thing common between her, me, and Gopi, and also Siddharth. Siddharth didn't go to an English medium school. We all went to vernacular school. So she went to a vernacular school. Her father was a PWD engineer, and her father's job was to oversee road construction in remote places. So she went wherever he got posted, from place to place to place. Finally, she graduated from college with a history